Lime's Fable by Egao. Part 1. Crashing In. A beam of light pierced through the curtains and poked Damien in the face. He was never a sound sleeper, and this was just enough to knock him out of his dreams. "What the?" Damien grunted as he tried to block the sun out with his hand and wormed his way out of bed. He thought he closed the curtains tightly last night, due to it being a night of full moon. And because of his half-Lycan heritage, full moons would just make him all stressed out and anxious, so he went to bed much earlier than usual and double-checked that his curtains were closed properly. He could control himself and not wolf out due to years of practice, yet he was never able to shake the effects. From the tingling, burning sensation on his hand, he could tell that it was almost noon, which meant that he'd slept for at least 15 or 16 hours. But due to the full moon, his body felt sore and tired. Being shone upon directly by sunlight was a nuisance to him as well, due to the other half of his heritage, one of vampires. He had no idea how his parents met, nor did he have any idea of the circumstances that led to his birth. He was left on the doorstep of a church nearby, and he was thus adopted by the old priest running it. It was a matter of luck that the old, timid priest had certain knowledge about the underworld and was willing to raise him without making his complicated lineage a bigger or more complicated deal than it had to be. And maybe out of that same spirit, Damien decided to call himself a lime, a clumsy wordplay of sorts. His stomach growled, his head hurt, and his ears rang. Maybe it was time to grab something to eat after that long slumber. He had to be in his best state soon, for he still needed to make his shift at the local dive bar tonight. When he checked his phone, as usual, there were few messages from his coworkers and his manager. Another busboy asked him to cover his shift. The barista said that she forgot her special wristband and asked if he had seen it. His manager told him to come in earlier today because the other busboy had to leave town because his aunt got sick for the 6th time this month. One could argue that the mixed son of two Night Stalker races should be doing something with more grandeur than just being a busboy janitor, but so far he did not find anything that could intrigue and excite him. And after a while, he just stopped trying. At his job, he could score some free drinks and snacks after each shift, even before he could legally consume alcohol, and that became enough for him. He tried searching for his kin, but to no avail. It was as if the Night Stalker races all vanished in one night without leaving much of a trace. His notebooks, sketches of magical arrays, and the notes and even grimoires left to him from his parents were scattered on the ground, and he almost tripped twice when he was trying to get dressed. This mess was his own doing when he started researching his lineage once again more than a week ago, for the 5th time. When he opened the door and was ready to head out, he found that he seemed to have forgotten his keys. Where could they? Damien scratched his head and frowned after finding them under his bed. His stomach growled once again, and the soreness in his muscles seemed to have grown a little more. The ringing sound in his ears grew louder as well, which was a bit out of the ordinary. Even with many nights of full moons before, the ringing was almost the lighter of the symptoms, and normally subsides after a short while and a good nap. An intuition warning against change and danger, so said his notes in grimoire, yet he still did not know what it could be. Just this moment, a far and faint voice of a girl came into his ears, and with an absurdly fast speed, it came closer and closer to his position. She was grunting, cursing, and yelling out words that he could not make off, as if she were fighting something. Fuck off! Fuck off! These were the first audible words from the girl's voice, and before Damien could react, his window went off its flames. The broken glass shards exploded in all directions, and the thick sunlight blocking curtains were thrown into the air and flopped to the ground. Boom. A human figure with a full head of bright red hair and wearing a suit of black combat armor covered with gashes, tears, and bloodstains fell into Damien's bed. The metal flames and the springs creaked and bent from the impact, and the fillings of the mattress burst out from its sides. What came with the red-headed figure were 2 creatures. They had the rough shapes of large dogs, but each with 6 legs with long bony claws, exposed tendons, and rib bones. Damien caught a look at the face of one of these creatures. It practically did not have a face at all. What it had was a structure made of moving pieces of rock, debris of wood, and long winding worms with shiny spiked curved fangs held together by some kind of black goo. The same kind of goo that was dripping all over the bedroom floor from the wounds on these creatures' bodies. Ah, fuck you! the red-headed figure roared in the same voice Damien heard earlier as she kicked one of these creatures between its middle legs, sending it into the air and then into the wall. But at the same time, the other creature took the opportunity and sunk its fangs in the girl's right arm. But before this creature could cause the girl any more harm, Damien already had his right hand on the back of its neck and his left on its lower back. His fingernails sprouted longer and pierced through the pale gray rubbery skin on this creature. With his fingers locked in on the creature's spine sockets, the creature struggled and was not able to move. He did not know why he did it, as he never did this kind of thing before. And yet something deep within him whispered to him, and he knew in but a mere moment what he needed and wanted to do. Instinct, maybe, but he just knew. Pungent dark goo and dark green slime splashed all over his mattress as Damien pulled the creature's body in different directions. It was the first time that he exerted his full force in a violent manner on anything for a while, and the creature's spine was torn apart along with its entire body. The girl cursed again, and with a quick swing of a curved dagger, the upper half of the creature was removed from her right arm, with only some severed fangs remaining on her sleeve. Damien's eyes met with the girl's. She had these deep, bright green eyes, which, though seemingly very uncommon, paired quite well with her bright red hair. The dirt and blood on her face did not hide her fair skin, and the freckles and the few locks of hair sticking to her face seemed to have made his heartbeat speed up. Damien muttered, Are you okay?" Before he could finish, the other creature lunged from the corner of the room right at him. The worms crawling out of its face shot at Damien like chained and toothy harpoons. Damien sensed sharp pinches on his chest, his left shoulder, and his right forearm. The fangs of these worms penetrated his skin and muscles. The next moment, he could feel a kind of numbness radiating from these wounds. Bang, bang, bang! The girl pulled out a handgun and opened fire, and opened 3 giant holes in the creature's body. They were definitely not ordinary bullets, as some kind of golden flame emerged from the bullet holes and engulfed the creature from inside almost instantly. If Damien did not shove the creature away, he would have been scorched by the golden flames as well. Are you okay?" Damien tried to ask, but his words started slurring and his muscles became uncontrollably relaxed. The red-haired girl jumped up and caught him just in time so he did not hit his head on the corner of his desk. "Damn it!" The girl laid Damien down and checked his pulse by his neck. "Gosh, why is your body temperature so low?" What? What happened?" Damien's eyesight seemed to be getting blurry and shaky as well. "Their toxins become nastier with low body temperatures." The girl shook her head and pulled out a piece of folded yellow paper. "Here, I'll put this into your mouth. It'll be very hot, okay? Don't spit." If this was not weird enough, after putting the piece of paper into Damien's mouth, the girl cut her middle finger, chanted some kind of spell, then dripped the blood onto the folded paper. A moment passed. Damien saw smoke coming out of his mouth and an intense heat exploding from inside of him. The smoke also went into his lungs. His tongue was burning like it had been roasted by fire. He tried to cry for help, but his mouth and tongue were both numb and powerless. For some reason, he felt no urge to cough or vomit, even when the smoke was filling him up. "Hang on, just for a few minutes." The girl took out another piece of folded yellow paper, lit it up with a lighter, and threw it in the air. An arch made of almost pure golden energy appeared in thin air, behind which was the scenery of a strange place. The smell of grass and wildflowers and the faint chirping of birds came through the arch. With everything before him, suspicion arose in Damien's mind. He was not sure whether he was actually dreaming.